Well, the hour being 7:32, let's begin the meeting. Hopefully Richard appears and nothing has happened to keep him from us. So shall we go to our weekly COVID update?
Sure. So the one item that I did want to mention to the board is the remote meeting. So I did include it in the email to the board last Friday. So as of right now, it is currently the House and the Senate must agree on a version for the governor to sign, but more than likely the extension will be granted to allow remote meetings to continue to take place. And they are talking about potentially having them take place until the end of March of 2023 and then revisiting it because there may be some stipulations pertaining to public meetings or executive session. So as of now, it hasn't officially been approved. So this is something I'll definitely let the board know. I'm assuming by the end of this week or early next week, we'll have an answer. It won't really affect us too much because our next meeting isn't until August 16th. But again, I'll get that information out to the board as soon as I receive it. But other than that, I don't really have too much of a COVID update.
They're saying that they only are looking for a report once a week.
So they're only actually reporting it once a week. The data is still daily data, but they're actually reporting it on the DPH site on a weekly basis now.
I see.
Correct.
I see. And what's our status here in Walpole?
So right now, so we're holding around about a 7% positivity rate. So it went up a little bit from last week's reporting of the 14 days prior, but nothing dramatic. And if you look at the COVID dashboard, I mean, hospitalization rates are still down and numbers are still good. So.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Then moving on to that, we should look at the minutes from last month's meeting.
Yep.
Are there any additions or corrections?
I just have a small addition to the Conservation Commission request for comment 5 Cardinal Lane under motion, the one that Richard made. It said that the Board of Health is not in favor of construction. Can we add new construction?
Sure, definitely.
Thank you.
That makes a world of difference, actually, the way you were saying new. Thank you.
That's easy.
Yeah. That's all I had.
I looked and didn't even see that one, so thank you, Mona.
You're
Are there any other additions or corrections?
Nope, not for me.
Okay, so shall we take a vote regarding the,
To make a motion.
I'll make a motion, yes. Would someone make a motion?
I'll make a motion. In
Thank
regard
you.
To the June 21st, 2022 Board of Health meeting, the Board of Health approves the minute as amended.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion has been made in second, so we take a vote. Mona,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
and is Rachel present? No. Okay, and I vote aye. So that's 3-0-0. So moving on our agenda, the next item would be at 7:35, which is 7:35. The septic variance at 19 Butch Saugan Circle.
So we do have Fergal here on the line. He is the homeowner. So we can open up to Fergal, but just to give a little narrative prior to doing so, this is for a septic variance. It's they will be adding a sunroom addition. And if you see on the attachment that was provided, I can also share my screen as well. It allows for Title V requires a 10-foot separation to the septic tank. They are meeting the 10-foot requirement for about 75% of the tank, and there's about 25% that's only meeting the 4-foot separation. So as a rule of thumb, I feel like we're a little less strict with the setbacks to the actual individual's home when we're dealing with setbacks to neighboring properties. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it, but in this case, it is meeting the requirement for, again, 75% of the tank, and the remaining 4 feet are not. So I don't know if the board has specific questions for Fergal or if Fergal would like to speak.
So there is no concerns, Melissa, in regards to that quarter, the 25%, 4 feet.
No, I mean, there's variants that have been granted. Ideally, the requirement is you want to make sure that nothing is on top of the septic tank and that you always have access to the septic tank to properly maintain it. So in this case, there is still a 4-foot buffer. And again, the reasoning behind the buffer also is to protect those inside the building. So say if there ever was a breakout inside the septic tank, having that additional buffer provides that added protection. So the main thing is you just want to make sure you're maintaining your septic tank, obviously, routine pumping, routine maintenance to assure that the system's in good standing.
But the patio is higher, the level is higher, right?
This is a sunroom. So there is a new foundation that will be poured.
Okay, but the sunroom is higher than the,
Correct. It's not below grade.
okay, all right. So even if something happens with the septic tank in the future, there's still like,
There's still access. Exactly. There's still access to the tank, which is important.
okay.
Are there any other questions or observations on this plan? None being heard, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion in regards to the 19 Butch Sungin Circle in South Walpole. The Board of Health grants the variance with no other concerns.
Do I hear a second? How about you, Stefan? Go for it.
I'm trying to second, but I'm muted. I'll second that.
So the motion has been made and seconded. Shall we vote? Looking at, let's see, we start with Mona,
Aye.
Stefan,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So it's 3-0-0. Moving on to our agenda, which we're going through quickly. Time-wise, we're 1 minute ahead of
Thank you,
ourselves.
Georgia.
The planning board request for comment on the subdivision Northwoods Estates. That is a huge project.
So I'm just going to share my screen. So this is a definitive subdivision for Northwoods Estates. The proposed plan is to subdivide the existing property to create 13 single-family house lots. They would also construct 3 cul-de-sac roadways, one from the end of Dover Drive, a second from the existing stub off Delaney Drive, and a third off High Street. The plan does include the construction of sidewalks, new sidewalks, as well as streetlights, and it is within the 100-foot buffer zone. So let me zoom out here. So this is the cul-de-sac off High Street. You can see the sidewalks right here, the street light in yellow. This is the wetlands, 25-foot buffer in pink, and then the 100-foot buffer in blue. This is the cul-de-sac off Dover Drive. Same thing, the street lights. Here's the sidewalk. And then down here is the cul-de-sac off Delaney Drive with the sidewalk here, a street light here. And then there's an isolated wetland over here with the 100-foot buffer and some wetlands coming up from here with the 100-foot buffer as well.
Wow.
And this is a definitive subdivision, so it would need an approval or denial from the board.
So they're surrounded by not just one side.
Yes, especially this cul-de-sac over here. It has the multiple wetlands.
Yeah, and that's a big project too. Any concerns from the health department other than wetland?
No, of course. So of course the wetlands is an issue, but they do have the sidewalks and the streetlights in the plan noted.
How about the trash and the recycling bins?
Those
So
will
they'd be single.
individual. That's individual. So we
Okay.
wouldn't need to worry about that.
Okay.
And then it is on town sewers, so we won't have to worry about it from a septic point of view either. But
Oh, okay.
Well, I can make a motion if no one else has any comments regarding Northwoods Estates. The the Board of Health has no concerns or comments at this time.
So
Should-
Carol, I think we just want to touch upon that we technically would approve the plan because with the subdivision, definitive subdivision, we have to either approve or deny. But then I think we should
Okay.
also add in the standing motion for mosquito mitigation because it is within the wetlands.
Right.
Okay, so shall we, my motion would be that we approve with the usual comments regarding mosquitoes.
Second that.
Should, I don't know, should we mention that we're not in favor of new construction with the wetland buffer zone? That the Board of Health had that.
Yeah, I think just you, like, that's normally the standard
Approve
motion that we
motion.
approve. However, we're not in favor with it, but should it proceed forward, we would recommend following the standard mosquito mitigation.
Much better motion. But it's been approved, so shall we vote?
Did we hear second?
I'll second.
He already stepped, yes. So let's see, let's go back to this paper. Mona,
Aye.
Stefan,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Good, moving on. Now we're looking at Conservation Commission's request for comment on 4 Lakeview Avenue.
I'm sorry, is it Shoreview Lane?
Or is it? Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Shoreview, sorry.
No worries. So this is a notice of intent for Shoreview Lane. It's a single family home and it includes the installation of an in-ground pool, a patio, and some landscaping. So I'm going to pull up the. So the property does border a small pond, and you can see the 25-foot buffer in pink and the 100-foot buffer in blue. This is the in-ground pool proposal, and then the patio here. And then some of the landscaping includes some of these stepping stones over here. So it is located within the 100-foot buffer.
All right. So other than the concern for the chemicals, right, that they should be locked away, can we request that the chemicals would be locked away like 100, like not within the.
I think just recommending that that adequate chemical storage is maintained on site. And then obviously the mosquito mitigation stance. And then the board always would say when the pool is drained that it's obviously dechlorinated prior to releasing the water.
Okay.
So would someone make the motion, please?
I can make the motion in regards to 4 Shoreview Lane, notice of intent. The board, and this is not an approval, is that correct?
Correct. This is just a notice of intent asking for comments from the board.
Okay, so it has no concerns, but recommends that the property owner ensures proper management of pool chemicals and that the pool water is dechlorinated prior to draining the pool of water. Anything else?
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and second. Are there any more comments? Any more questions? Then we're ready for a vote. Mona,
Aye.
Stefan,
Aye.
Carol, aye. Okay, moving on to our last item on our agenda regarding, where's my paper? This is nice.
4 Palmer
4
Avenue.
Palmer Avenue.
So this is another notice of intent. It's another single family home and it's on Willett Pond. And the plan proposes to install a 4-foot by 30-foot dock, as well as a 30-inch path to the dock. The owner of the property does have a license and an easement to use that land and Willett Pond. And let me pull up the map. So as you can see, It does occur within the 20-foot or 25-foot no disturb border. Here's the path and the dock highlighted in yellow, and then the edge of the wetlands highlighted in green.
Do we know what they're constructing the pathway with?
It didn't include that. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. It's mulch. It's a 30-inch wide mulch path.
And the dock, I'm assuming, is wood.
Yes.
Where is Willett Pond?
I am not too sure off the top of my head. Melissa, I'm not sure if you have any insight on where Willett Pond is.
That's up near, right off of 1A going towards, like, if you took a left after the Norfolk Aggie. I forget the name of that street, but if you kept going up that way.
Is that Fisher?
Sure,
Fisher, yeah.
sure.
So Willett Pond is the one that, what's the name of that Catholic church up there?
Mhm.
In Norwood. That's on Willett Pond too.
That's correct.
Timothy's.
Oh, okay. Okay,
The other side is St. Tim's.
St. Tim's, thank you.
okay, so any other concerns other than the mosquitoes for this one?
No, just that it's in the 25-foot buffer, the mosquitoes.
Okay,
But they're not really building, they're just putting a path through.
They are building a new dock. So they're putting the path in, and then the new dock is will be
Right.
brand new.
But it's not like putting a building in or,
No, this is the only work that is being done.
right.
to me, it doesn't seem to be an issue.
Looks like there's an existing dock there just south of there too, right?
Yep.
Oh, yes, right.
Right.
So
Okay,
So would someone make the motion, please?
so I'll make a motion in regards to the notice of intent for Palmer Avenue. The Board of Health currently has no concerns, no major concerns, except that we recommend that the applicant would adopt the standard best practices for mosquito mitigation, even though it's just a dock. And just work with the Norfolk County Mosquito Control for spraying and standing water treatments. Institute regular cleaning of gutters. I don't know if that applies.
There were no gutters there. It's not a building.
Right. And provide proper grading of buffer zone areas in order to prevent low points that draw and hold water.
I'll second that.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? I'm not so sure that we need to treat it like it's a building. It's a pathway and a dock. So some of the language in that motion regards to a building. And I would suggest that we might want to take another look at the motion.
It's
Yeah, I think more or less like when Caitlin spoke in front of the board a couple of meetings back, just more or less being aware of the water itself. So again, yeah, possibly treating standing water if there's an issue there, spraying the greenery around it. But I agree with you, pertaining to gutters and things like that, that wouldn't be applicable to this build.
right. So we'll remove the gutter part because there isn't gonna be any gutters. But we'll keep the spraying and the standing water treatment and the proper grading of buffer areas.
Is there really grading involved? I don't see that.
Just,
I think just more or less probably if they are building something and they're dealing with the mulching, the path, potentially just being mindful of that there's no, grading
Can-
issues where there's
Can they just go ahead and build something without coming before us, or so now they're open to build something?
What is it?
You said in regard to building, there's no
Well,
building.
constructing, I guess you're saying there's a path, you're constructing a pathway, so you are going into the wetlands area, so you are disturbing the wetlands area, so that's all it is. They're not building a structure, no, but they're building a pathway, so they are obviously digging into the land to make this pathway, and then obviously they're building the actual dock itself. So I think just the pond, the grading on the actual pathway.
Okay, thank you. Then I think we're ready to take a vote. Mona,
Aye.
Stefan,
Aye.
and myself, I vote yes, aye. So it passes 300. So is there anything else we need to add to our meeting tonight?
No, that's all. It was a short one. So the next real update that I'll give to the board is pertaining to our scheduled August 16th meeting as to whether or not it will be in person or whether or not it will continue to be remote. But I'll definitely reach out as soon as that's confirmed.
And it's not part of our meeting, but has anybody ever heard anything about Richard Bringhurst?
I have not, but wait one second, Carol, do you want to officially close the meeting?
Okay, the meeting should be closed then at 7:53. And I propose it at meeting. Does anyone agree? Second that motion that we close.
I'll second that.
And now to ask about Richard Bringhurst. Any news on
We
him?
do a roll call.
Oh, sorry. Mona,
Aye.
Stefan,
Aye.
and myself, I.